Very good.
Fantastic. All right, this meeting is called to order. It's May 28th, 2024. This is a special meeting to regarding the budget. So we will start with the seating of alternates, and we will be meeting two alternates this evening. So we have a motion for alternates.
I move to see Britt as an alternate for Steph.
Second that. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay? Nays? And no exceptions. That was unanimous. And next, motion to seat Melissa Christina for Christina.
I'll move to see Melissa and Christina.
Okay, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Unanimous. We have no minutes to approve and present to speak. Public participation is desired and encouraged. Speakers will be limited to time and appropriateness of comments to maintain progress, stay on topic, and maintain reform. Do we have anybody present to speak? No, you. Oh,
Wants me to speak during the part of the meeting where we're discussing the budget.
yeah, we could do it. Thank you. Yeah, Ralph? Ralph?
You're muted, Ralph.
Got it. How's this? Probably
Okay.
better. Just like everyone else in this town who's a little bit on the conservative side, I have a lot of heartburn over inflation. Unfortunately, it's inherent in a capitalistic society, I guess. But anyway, I analyzed budget numbers from 98, 99 to the current budget. And I have a graph I could show you guys that shows the steady climb year to year, dollars and cents for the budget in current dollars at that point in time. If you normalize the budget to 2024 dollars from 98, 99 to today, what you'll see is a budget that's essentially been flat, hasn't changed, hasn't increased in 2024 dollars. Inflation kind of sucks because when my parents bought the store over on 74, I think I was in grammar school, you could buy 5 gallons of gasoline for $1. You can't even get back and forth to the town office for $1 today. That's the reality of inflation. Unfortunately, government budgets have to keep pace with that. Now, I'm not taking a stand pro or con on the budget, but if you let me screen share, I'll show you the graph that I have. That's possible.
Possible.
Say when.
Okay, go on, give it a try.
You click on his name and then 3 dots. You can
Share
see
loud and share.
there.
Ah, here we go. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, it's been disabled, so I can't.
I think we can do it too.
Report.
I'm sorry, are you seeing it? I can't see it. Sorry.
right.
Not any valid. I'm not that familiar with selling about the teams.
Host disabled, participant screen sharing. Okay, so I cannot share this with you. I'd be
Okay.
happy to email it to the chair,
Yeah, you can do it. Send it to everybody.
and you can share it with everyone. The main point is, one, if you want to look at dollar value, our budget's been flat for decades. If you look at it in terms of current dollars year to year, yeah, it keeps going up, but so doesn't everything. One of the things I did notice was the total Board of Ed budget versus the local government budget. The gap between the two, when graphed, has constantly been getting greater. Yet our student population keeps going down. This was one of the reasons we pursued getting a new school, was to consolidate. That didn't fly. So now we're not forced, but we've elected to maintain what we have. one of the things I think that's gotten lost in the translation was the consolidation. Do we have a long-range plan to consolidate to one building because our student population is declining? This has, to my knowledge, never been discussed by the Board of Ed, given the rejection of a new school. Anyway, that's another story. I won't go there. There's not much you guys can do about the Board of Ed budget, I guess, other than cut it. But is that wise? It's up to you all to make the judgment calls here. I can't do it for you. I know what I've seen. I don't want my taxes to go up, but that seems like a reality. And I'm sure Mr. Marshall would capitalize on this conversation as well. Anyway, that's all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ralph. Do we have anybody else for present to speak? We have, oh, Christine.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just gonna point out that we have 3 people waiting in the queue to join, I think.
Then I
You went first. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Huh. I didn't ask to join.
Yeah, we're up to it.
Oh, I don't know how we got in there yet.
Bruce, yes.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Here.
Is everybody in?
Okay, go on, Christine.
Sorry, Christine South is Jared Sparks Road. I would just like to ask the chair to please remind people when they are here to participate with public to speak, that they identify themselves. Sometimes when you're sitting at home on Zoom, it's extremely difficult to know who's talking. And again, just make sure that it is for public record as well, and that it gets into your minutes.
Yeah, I do believe that we always ask that they identify themselves.
Well, Ralph.
We just missed Ralph.
Oh, you're right.
And because we're a small town, and we tend to know so many people, you call people like say, okay, Ralph. And then he starts talking and he doesn't identify
Okay.
us.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Peter, you got something to say? No. No, okay. So nobody else for present to speak. So we'll go on now to old business, which is budget discussion. And Peter, you wanted to speak?
Yes, so a number of questions were asked at previous meetings regarding the budget discussion. One of them was the blackout period, the prohibition on what public officials can say in regards to referendum and when they can say it. I found the State Elections Enforcement Commission guidance on that. I haven't gotten through it as well as I should have prior to this meeting, but I'm willing to share it with anybody that's willing, that wants to see it. I can make them copies. The second thing that I was asked is whether I'd run it through the attorney on whether our current process is legal. I did receive an email from him several days ago saying that, last Thursday, that said that in accordance with the statutes that we were within, the guidance we had received from Stafford was well within the legal parameters. The last thing before I actually talked to numbers is we were also questioned as to whether we could run a question as in, yes, I want it passed, no, it's too high, no, it's too low. The last time our town clerk could find that was done was 1988, so I believe it's still legal. However, we have a technological problem. The last time was 1988, it was done on the old lever machines. And the lever machines could be set so that you could answer 3 things to one question. The new electronic ones, there's only 2 options. So you can't go yes, no, one high, no low. You have to ask yes or no, and then you have to ask. It would be hard to form a question that wasn't leading. Like you couldn't say, is this too high? Yes or no? And then figure it out from there. And then is this too low? Yes or no? I believe the technological issues on that would be very difficult to overcome. Also, it wouldn't eliminate people that had voted yes from voting on no, too high or too low, because it would be a separate question. So that's all I have on previous questions asked of me by this board. the Board of Selectmen did meet and have taken $125,000 from the $1.5 million that was allotted to the schools for repairs. It's been noted that with that cut, CIP is now 1.7% lower than last year, which is approximately $30,000 less than last year. So the other issue I looked at was looking back at more than 1 year. This year's CIP is 287% higher than 2 years ago and 271% higher than 3 years ago. So we are investing in our infrastructure. We are making an effort towards that. Also, the reason it was taken out of there was because this board had gone line by line through the general government budget and cut it as far as they felt was prudent, further than I felt was prudent already. So that's where we came up with our numbers. So the final budget number we came to was $7,074,808, which is what was proposed by this board. It's a change of $175,794 from 23-24, which accounts for a 2.5% increase in the general government budget. That's all I got. Sorry. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
No, thank you, Peter. Anybody have any questions for Peter? Does anybody have any other discussion regarding the budget? All right, so I'll just summarize the budget briefly. So the general government total is $7,074,808. The K-8 education is $9,769,217, an increase of 6.8%. Region District 19, $4,632,193. And that's a 5.2% increase. And total expenditures will be $21,476,218 with a percentage change of 5%. So if there's nothing else for old business, we'll move on to new business. Looking for a motion to be made to recommend that the Board of Selectmen call a town meeting for the purpose of fiscal year 2024, the 25 budget referendum for the general government and K-8 education budgets. I'll make a motion. Think we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody was aye? All right, it's unanimous. So we will now move on to correspondence. Does anybody have any correspondence? And present. Anything said to you? You ready? No. Okay. And present to speak, public participation is desired and encouraged. Speakers will be limited to time and appropriateness of comments to maintain progress, stay on topic, and maintain the forum. Do you have anybody for present to speak? No. Good welfare. Okay. No, Erica.
Thank you. Erica Wyszynski. I just wanted to share a little bit on what Peter was talking about as far as factual information between the period of calling a referendum and the referendum. The statutes are clear that you can't spend taxpayer dollars to sway a vote. So the information has to be very specific and factual, and then has to go through your town clerk and then a check with your attorney. So you can share information and share those numbers, which I think this board has talked about wanting to do. You just have to be careful that it doesn't sway, but that has to go through your attorneys. And so then you could actually send out some information. You just would not be leaning in any direction. It would be very clear and concise. This is what the vote is, and here's what the numbers are. hopefully that clears some of that up, because like Peter said, the legal jargon can be very confusing. But as we work this during the school building committee, you can share factual information. You just cannot use taxpayer dollars to sway anyone's vote.
That all, Erica?
That's
Thank you.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else for present to speak? No? Good and welfare? And can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting for this evening?
I'll make that motion.
We have a second? All right, meeting's adjourned.
All in favor? Aye. Good night.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, my God, maybe.